One of Michigan's greatest mysteries. A cold case that's never been cracked. Where is Jimmy Hoffa? Jimmy Hoffa was born on February 13, 1913, in Brazil, Indiana. His father, John Hoffa, died in 1920, and in 1924, his mother moved the family to Detroit. Hoffa dropped out of school at the age of 14 and started working on manual labor jobs to help support his family. In his adult life, Hoffa was a labor union leader for the International Brotherhood of Teamsters, a trucking union. His history with labor unions started in his teen years while working for a grocery store. Reportedly, the grocery store offered poor working conditions and pay. Due to this, the workers attempted to form a union. In 1932, Hoffa refused to work for a shift foreman that was abusive to the workers and left the grocery store chain. He was then invited to become an organizer with the Teamsters Local 299 union. Hoffa and other union leaders helped to grow this union from 75,000 members to 170,000 by 1936. And by 1939, there were over 420,000 members. Even more impressive, by 1951, the union had over 1 million members. In order to grow the truckers' unions, more often than not, Hoffa had to strike deals with gangsters in Detroit, and in many cases, the unions were strongly manipulated by organized crime. Hoffa had never been a truck driver himself, however, in 1946 became the president of the Local 299 union. Because of his union activity and leadership, Hoffa managed to get a deferment from the U.S. military for World War II, claiming he was of much better use at home leading the union. Then, the criminal investigations began. In 1957, Hoffa faced his first major criminal investigation and managed to avoid being convicted for several years. That is, until President John F. Kennedy appointed his son, Robert F. Kennedy, as Attorney General. Robert began a campaign to convict Hoffa and assembled a team of prosecutors and investigators, calling it the Get Hoffa Squad. Everything crashed down on Hoffa in 1964 when he was convicted in Chattanooga, Tennessee of bribery of a grand juror and was sentenced to 8 years in prison. For the next 3 years, Hoffa attempted to appeal his convictions, and in 1967, he began serving his 8-year sentence at the Lewisburg Federal Penitentiary in Pennsylvania. Hoffa appointed longtime Local 299 union member and loyalist Frank Fitzsimmons as acting union president during his time in prison. To Hoffa's displeasure, Frank deconstructed the power center of the union and decided to forego some of the power that Hoffa took while president. In 1971, less than 5 years into Hoffa's sentence, President Richard Nixon commuted him to time served and was released from prison. The terms of the release, however, forbid Hoffa from engaging in any union activity until 1980. The following years would bring struggle and court battles through Hoffa's efforts to regain power over the union. His efforts were met with opposition from members of the mafia. A few members in particular were Anthony Provenzano and Anthony Giacalone, who was allegedly a kingpin in the Detroit Mafia along with his younger brother, Vito. It was on July 30th, 1975, when Hoffa was last seen in the parking lot of a restaurant in Bloomfield Township. So what happened to Jimmy Hoffa? Where is his body buried? Will we ever get the answer? So there are 2 working theories that I've been able to find on Jimmy Hoffa.
Yummy.
1, he was killed and buried in a shallow grave.
I'll wait.
2, he was placed in witness protection. Now, at this point in 2019, he'd be dead anyways, being born in 1913.
You mean witless protection, though?
Yes.
Okay.
Unless he, lived to be 106. So let's just assume he'd be dead anyways. But those are the 2 working theories.
Okay.
Now, there have been multiple instances in history where there have been tips on where his body's buried.
Continue. I will hold my naysaying until you're done presenting evidence.
Okay.
Fair enough?
So you have your own theory.
I mean, it's not a good working theory. I'm not going to tell you that it is.
So let's see. Okay, so there's actually no date on that one. But
Perf.
I thought there was a date. So this is from the History Channel, history.com.
Aliens.
This is oh God.
Yeah, there it is.
A list of places. Okay, so the the article is titled 9 Places Jimmy Hoffa Probably Isn't Buried.
Mars. Sorry.
And I'm pretty sure, yeah. So these were all tips that
were given to
the
law
authorities.
Enforcement. Okay.
Yeah. Gardena, California.
Wait. Were they tips given to law enforcement specifically saying that he's not here?
No.
Or they were tips saying that, hey, he might be buried here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. They're tips
Thank
that
you.
were saying basically, hey, we think he's buried here, but they found no evidence.
Gotcha.
So, hence the title, 9 Places Jimmy Hoffa Probably Isn't Buried.
Oh, it's probably. It's not even actually ruled
so
out.
They're not even sure.
But they're like, eh.
But wouldn't you think after, 1975 he disappeared, so...
Sounds like some fucking work.
What's that?
43 years?
Did you just do that in your head?
Is it right?
Close. 44. But I'm proud of you.
I need you to understand that I referenced my brother's age and birth year
Oh.
to do that.
Wow. There you go. Good job.
High five me. I'm so proud. Oh, I'm going to cry. Okay, carry on.
So, the first one was in Gardena, California, when rumors surfaced that Hoffa may have been involved in an acrimonious negation with a Gardena businessman.
Why they got to put it that way?
I don't know. Conspiracy swirled that Hoffa had been murdered and buried in the foundation of a nearby poker club and restaurant. Remained a local legend for decades until the property was bought up by magazine publisher Larry Flint. Isn't that a gentleman's club?
What?
Larry Flint's Hustlers Club
I don't
in
know.
Michigan? I'll include a link to the gentleman's club in the show notes. It was fully excavated and reopened as a casino in 2000. Number 2 would be Hampton, Michigan. It says the 2013 search wasn't the first or even the 5th time investigators have targeted Michigan in their hunt for Hoffa. Okay.
Well,
obvi
fucking duh.
Fucking, I don't even know how to put fucking in the middle of the word obviously. Why are you surprised that Michigan's being targeted for the search for his body when
because
he
it's
fucking
Detroit versus everybody.
He literally disappeared from a fucking parking lot of a restaurant in Bloomfield Township.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he could be do you think he could be a Michigan?
Yeah. All right.
Fuck.
All right. Let's stop picking this article apart. Let's just do this.
It's not picking article. It's picking humans apart.
Well, okay, fair enough. They say in this article that it's probably a bit presumptuous to rule out the entire Wolverine state as the likely location of Hoffa's remains.
Who the fuck puts it that way? Okay.
I don't know. several spots have already received a thorough going over. But with this one in particular, in 2003, following a tip, investigators dug up the backyard pool in Hampton's Thumb neighborhood in search of either Hoffa or evidence regarding his death. Can you look up how... I don't know where Hampton, Michigan is. Can you look that up and see like how close it is to like anywhere that he fucking would have been at?
No, but apparently, according to iPhone's new swipe, I can look up Harpoon, Michigan.
Perfect. Don't know that exists.
Harpoon, Michigan. Sorry.
Now, they do say...
Oh, it's up by Bay City, Essexville. If you go...
Oh, okay. North.
Northeast.
Yeah. No, it'd be northwest from us.
I'm talking about from Bay City.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. I gotcha.
Well, it's Hampton Township, but yeah, you get it.
And I guess the evidence that they were looking for were specifically a briefcase supposed to have contained a medical syringe and pharmaceutical material that was used to kill Hoffa.
Okay. Thank you for clearing that up. Thank you for the clarification.
And of course, their search turned up nothing but dirt, is what the article says. Yes, I am quoting the article, and I will put a link to the article in the show notes because I do not plagiarize. Number 3, Bloom.
Child's play.
Number 3, probably the most likely location, Bloomfield, Michigan.
I don't know.
That makes more sense. So this happened in 2004. Okay, so it was a home that was once owned by one of Hoffa's friends, Frank Sheeran.
Is he related to Ed?
At one point, he had claimed that he had murdered Hoffa himself after they had a falling out.
That's ballsy, but all right.
Right. Why? Who knows?
Notoriety?
Yeah, that's a good point. Like we talked about in a previous episode, people say shit for attention.
People are fucking crazy.
After he claimed to have committed the murder in his home, search teams were sent there. They did find traces of blood, but medical examiners determined that they weren't from Hoffa. Number 4, Milford, Michigan. Evidently, this one was seemingly promising. It sent the FBI to a horse farm located northwest of Detroit.
That right?
They spent more than 2 weeks digging at the site in May of 2006 before calling it quits. Normally, the FBI, being close-lipped about ongoing investigations, stated that they may not have located Hoffa's body, but believed that it may have been buried there before being moved elsewhere.
That's such a waste of resources in the moving of the body, is what I'm saying. It's terrible.
We're talking about the mafia, though. Like, they believe that the mafia took him down. So, if they don't want to be caught, they're going to be sneaky, and they're going to bury and then move. And then bury,
I mean, you would think that there would be...
And you can always burn a body, but the bones are going to still be intact.
Fun fact, you have to burn bones for at least 2 hours up and above temperatures of 2,000 degrees.
Right, so in a cremation chamber, basically.
Are you scared?
Number 5, Roseville, Michigan. The FBI received another tip that Hoffa had been buried beneath a backyard shed in Roseville. Sonar of the site revealed abnormalities in the soil composition.
What?
And they decided to drill for samples. Once again, no evidence of Hoffa's remains turned up.
Okay, whose shed was it? Because I could...
How the fuck am I supposed to know?
Well, I'm saying, is it just some random backyard shed that someone drove by and was like, that's it, that's the thing, that's the place?
I don't know. And there's...
You see what I'm saying, though?
I mean, look at these paragraphs. They're tiny. They don't...
That's not even real.
I'm, telling you everything that's in there. So...
Look at these paragraphs.
However, there's a picture of Jimmy Hoffa.
Yummy.
Giants Stadium was another location. They believed he was buried beneath a football stadium. The most popular urban legend associated with Jimmy Hoffa's disappearance is that he was buried beneath a football stadium at the sprawling Meadowlands complex in East Rutherford, New Jersey. The idea was first floated by mob hitman Donald Tony the Greek Francos in an interview with Playboy magazine in 1989. I don't know.
You have no just like, so tell me about yourself. Jimmy Hoffa.
Yeah.
Hugh. Jimmy Hoffa. What? Okay.
And then Francos, who was an informant who turned state's witness, insisted that he had no personal involvement with the murder, but had been told that two other Jersey wise guys were responsible for the murder, dismemberment, and eventual burial of Hoffa's body beneath one of the stadium's end zones.
But you know what? If I was a cop, honestly, if someone was telling me that so casually, I'd be like, you're a fucking liar.
So it's funny that you say that because
He's a fucking liar.
Federal officials and Hoffa's own family voiced their suspicions over Franco's story, but that didn't stop it from capturing the public's attention. Of course it didn't.
Duh, sensationalism.
Yeah, exactly. Some people that believe that theory kind of noticed that Hoffa disappeared while the complex was under construction. So, I mean...
You can look for patterns in anything, though.
Well, and his last known public meeting was with Anthony Provenzano that I mentioned.
I know.
Previously.
Why is it always Tony?
I don't know.
There's always a Tony.
There's always
or
a Tony.
Two, apparently.
There's two in this
There's two Tonys.
instance, yeah.
Two-time Tony winner. Jimmy Hoffa. Laugh.
But the stadium theory was put to rest in 2010 when the building was demolished to make way for a new sports complex. Okay, so this is the other... this is actually another one that's been pretty believed, I guess.
Okay.
Accepted is the word I was looking for.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually think the newer movie, I don't remember when it came out, but either way, The Irishman...
I want to see it.
With Robert De Niro.
Do you know why I want to see it?
Why do you want to see it?
Because lots of people in my newsfeed have said they wanted
Yeah.
They were watching it and it was really good. And I was like,
Evidently,
okay.
It is really good. But I guess this theory, they believe that his body was thrown in a landfill, which I could see that. That'd be a pretty solid place. I mean... Well, yes and no, because people are constantly working at landfills, right? So
who the fuck is digging? You're piling stuff on, though.
Piling stuff on, but then they got to move stuff.
You gotta schlep
They got
it
to
over
move
here.
stuff around. They got to,
But there's so much crap. You're not going to be sitting there staring intently looking for a body while you're using a backhoe to push garbage.
Especially if you're working, 8, 10, 12 hours a day doing
kidding.
that, you're going to be zoned out and you're just going to be, okay.
Mm-hmm.
I can see that.
Let's get this done and over with, yeah. All right.
So they believe he was buried there in a 55-pound drum, but they called off the search pretty quick. Number 8, Florida Everglades. This was in 1982, which, side note, he disappeared July 30th of 1975 and was not declared dead until July 30th of 1982.
Yeah, you remember that headstone we found at the Emily City Cemetery, way in the back? Mm-mm. That guy was never found, remember?
Oh, yeah.
And it wasn't until, was it early 2000s?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good point.
They have to, within a reasonable lifespan, wait, I think.
That's true. This was in 1982. This is another mob hitman. His name is not Tony.
Fuck.
It's actually Charles Allen.
That's such a normal, I read the Sunday paper with my wife at the table name.
Yeah. But anyway... supposedly he had the inside story on what really happened to Hoffa, and he actually testified before a U.S. Senate committee that was investigating Anthony Provenzano and other organized crime leaders. Charles Allen had said that Hoffa had been shot and killed shortly after his disappearance, with his body later ground up, dumped... Oh, okay, there's your answer right there. Ground up, dumped in a steel drum, and brought down to Florida, where it was dumped unceremoniously in a nearby swamp. After testifying, Allen went into witness protection, which this idiot still...
Immediately went to someone and was like,
no,
hey.
Still accepted offers for interviews from reporters.
Fucking slap him. No, the mob needs to take care of him because he's an asshat.
Yeah.
I'm like mildly upset. I'm not mad anymore. I'm mildly upset. Who does that? Who does that?
This idiot, evidently.
He's the weakest link. Goodbye. He needs to be taken care of by the mob.
And
it sounded like I said the mom.
Mom, yeah, I wasn't going to say anything. And number 9, Japan.
What in the... Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm listening. Did they throw him in the suicide forest?
No.
Oh. Because that would be a good spot.
Actually, it doesn't even say where they believe it. Just
somewhere.
Just Japan. So, I guess my question for you is going to be, do you think he entered witness protection instead of disappearing? Or do you think he was killed off by the mob and his body's still floating around somewhere? Maybe not floating. Maybe not floating around, but his body is still somewhere. And even at this point... Look out
the window at the street. We're down the road.
44 years out from his disappearance. I mean, I don't really know that we'd find too much of a body except for a skeleton at this point. Because he wasn't buried in a casket.
That doesn't matter. You're going to decompose one way or another, embalmed and in a casket. And
yeah, but in an open environment, you're going to decompose faster. Faster. Bugs are going to get to you.
So?
Yeah. So, what do you think?
I don't know now. I had a solid belief, because here was my thing. If they put him in witness protection, they're not going to tell you, we have placed Yemi Hoffa in witness protection. I was trying to be a mob voice, but it didn't work.
No, it didn't work for you too well.
No.
No, but they would tell you now.
Would they, though?
I'm sure they would.
Depending on how deep in shit he is, would they though?
Well, that's true. Yeah, because then, I mean, I'm sure, okay, obviously the mafia is still out there, but,
just kidding.
Where was I going with that? But like, I don't know, maybe Anthony Provenzano and Anthony Giacalone's kids are part of it now, and
I feel like that's kind of a thing. It's like a family business.
Yeah, it's the... Yeah.
It's the car dealership of the mafia.
Yeah.
You inherit it.
Right. So you would think, I guess if that news went out with that he was in witness protection, that then they would carry on the work.
Hoffa's family. Does he didn't have kids.
No, yeah, he did.
He had kids?
He had, I think, 3 or 4. I'd have to look it up. But he had a few kids. Yeah, he was married. He had kids, everything.
See, so then what happens to his family then? You see what I'm saying?
Right. I mean, if word got out that he wasn't witness protection, the mafia would come after family.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's fair.
Yeah.
So, I mean, personally, I didn't really buy the witness protection. It is
Didn't you learn anything from that episode of Brooklyn Nine-Nine?
Oh, my God. It is a solid theory that would have happened, but considering Nixon did...
I'm not a crook.
Yeah, well... But,
Tricky Dick, really.
He did let him out of prison after 5 years versus serving his full 8. So I wouldn't put it past Nixon to say,
not a crook.
Yeah, to say, okay, we're going to put you in witness protection.
I don't know.
However,
I really like the ground up is... That sounds fucked up. I really like that theory.
Ground up his body, put it in a steel drum, and...
No, I don't like the steel drum part. Fuck the steel drum.
Okay, whatever. They put it in a drum. You're focusing on the wrong stuff.
I'm focusing on the facts. No, I like that I like the nuance of grinding it up, because you're not going to just find a finger.
No.
Or a toe. Well, okay, if it's Sweeney Todd, you will.
Or...
get through the meat grinder properly.
Wormtail.
That's a finger. That's all that's left. Anyway. That's funny because he's in both movies.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's really clever because you really wouldn't find a whole chunk to alert you.
Mm-mm.
And then, I mean, I'm going to take from this imaginary web of crime scenes in my head. If you grind up his body and you don't necessarily put it in a drum, because that's weird. If it does happen to rust out and open, everyone's like, ew, weird, rotted meat. Why? Okay. That's kind of suspicious. But, like, go fucking chum off the coast with it. Or in the Everglades. Gator meat's got to come from somewhere. I don't think he's in Japan. There's no
I think that's
connection. I mean,
no.
I guess maybe that would be the idea.
Yeah.
He has no ties to this country. Airdrop him.
I don't think.
Pull your shoe. No.
I don't. I don't think they move. No. Mm-mm. I don't think so.
That's.
I think that's a little too far-fetched. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think throwing a 55-gallon drum in the Everglades is going to be super nonchalant for someone to be on their like fan boat and be like, "Hey, that's normal."
Yeah. No.
Because
Probably
eventually
not.
the rope is going to wear out.
Yeah.
On a cinder block if you've tied it like a floating dock up north.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, if it wasn't like synthetic fiber rope, it's gonna wear out and it's gonna float to the top.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Oh, personally, I think he's buried somewhere in Michigan. Honestly. So what if? Now here's my own.
I mean, yeah, sure, more than likely.
Yeah. And here's my own, like, conspiracy theory that I've got in my head now is...
They threw him over the fence at Area 51 and ran?
Yeah. Slapping them cheeks.
Stop.
So, I think the mafia is actually calling in, like, potentially. I'm not going to say this is a solid theory, but I'm going to say potentially the mafia has called in all these anonymous tips. He's buried here.
Oh, shit, you're right.
He's buried here. To throw off the authorities. They'll never find his body. Yeah.
Is there just a network of mafia? Like, we have the Detroit, like, I don't want to say union, but, like, so there's the Detroit chapter, there's a Jersey chapter, there's a New York chapter, and do they all owe each other favors?
It's possible.
Like, I don't know how that works. Is it like a phone tree?
And I don't know. I don't know. I don't know in 2019 how I know I said I don't know a lot, but I don't know how in 2019 the mafia would, like, actually be able to operate. But I guess if they are that smooth up, you got to give them credit. But that's kind of my little kind of conspiracy theory here, is that the mafia is calling in the tips to throw everybody off. Because
that's a good idea. You didn't read that off anywhere. Did you just come up with that, though?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Good job,
no. But can you agree with me on that?
I kind of like that.
So here's an interesting...
I mean, if I murdered you, I would have our friends call in tips.
Yeah. Yeah.
I said if.
You meant when.
You can't prove that.
So on November 22nd...
This year?
Fun thing.
This year?
Yes.
I look at my watch like it's going to tell me this year.
This year. November 22nd, 2019.
Yeah.
The Detroit Free Press published an article, and it is titled, "The Search for Jimmy Hoffa May Have New Lead. Expert Has Best Tip Ever in Search for Grave." So this is
what kind of expert? I could be an expert in chicken farming and be considered an expert and call in something like that. You see what I'm saying?
So what I was about to say was this is a leading expert on the Hoffa case.
Oh, okay.
He's also an author, Dan Moldea, if I'm saying that right. Okay, we're coming back to the New Jersey landfill. This is known as the Brother Moscato's dump, may be the grave of Jimmy Hoffa. It says he has been covering Hoffa since before he disappeared and wrote the book The Hoffa Wars in 1978.
I thought you were going to say since before he was born. Oh, I may have to look that up.
The Hoffa Wars. That's
and
what
read
it's called.
It, yeah.
A new lead brings together the correct cast of characters, the right timeline of events. I know, it sounds like he's putting together a movie.
Yeah.
But this is...
It's critically acclaimed, guys.
Everything he has done in decades of researching. Says he's never seen a lead this good for Hoffa's body And he's been not one of, I can't read today. He's been on 6 of the digs himself, looking for his body.
What if he keeps pointing them in the wrong direction? I'm just kidding.
What if he's got ties to the mafia?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I was kidding, but I'm not also.
I guess Detroit FBI told the Free Press on Thursday morning, so as of the publishing of this article, that they haven't yet heard of his new evidence. So we're not sure if they're willing to search.
He's like, it's a holiday.
Yeah.
I'll tell you tomorrow after I shop.
This was last week, not today.
Oh. I thought you meant today. Okay.
Okay. So Moldea's latest information comes from Frank Capella, whose father, Paul Capella, was a partner in the dump at the time Hoffa disappeared. The younger Capella said that as his father was dying in 2008, he recounted what happened so that Hoffa's family could eventually recover his remains. Earlier this year...
Okay, that was 8 years ago, butthole.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so no, it was not.
Oh, 8 and 8 is 16.
Your math grade just went from an A- to an F. 2008, 11 years.
Yeah.
Earlier this year, though, the younger Capella signed a sworn affidavit for Moldea spelling out his father's version of events. It tracks with previous theories that Hoffa was killed in Metro Detroit, stuffed in a drum, loaded into a truck, and driven to New Jersey.
Jersey's a weird fucking place.
Yeah. These are the new details. Hoffa's corpse was brought to the dump for disposal. Because it was awkwardly placed in the drum in which it was transported, the body was moved to a new one. The corpse wouldn't fit into the new drum feet first, so it was shoved in head first.
That makes no sense to me.
Nah, whatever. Capella used a front-end loader to bury the barrel in a pre-dug hole at the dump, and he covered it with 15 to 30 other drums containing chemical waste. Capella buried a marker over the spot that should be easy to find.
Why would you even do that? I mean, if you're not a serial killer and you're not taking this as a trophy, and you're never planning on digging him up ever again, what is the point of putting a grave marker unless it's like, I feel bad? You see what I'm saying? Like, that's weird.
Yeah, that's very weird. But then it goes back to saying what we were talking about earlier was shit's constantly moved around in landfills.
Yeah.
So that grave marker is guaranteed, if he is thrown in the landfill, to have been moved.
I wonder if it's like...
with the body.
Well, what kind of waste was it again?
Chemical waste.
You might have a chance. I wonder if they have like a grid system, like a cemetery.
Oh, that's a good point.
And this is buried over here. This is... like for chemical waste. And this is just everybody else's bullshit. Like, somebody threw a fucking couch out. Like...
That's a good point. Yeah. Well, so it seems like the most popular theory then is that he was thrown in the dump in New Jersey. So I still kind of like my theory, though.
I like yours, too.
But, again, they're just theories. Do you think they're ever going to find any traces of his body anywhere?
No, they drum something up, sensationalize it for Jimmy Hoffa, and like, where is he? And then after 2-3 weeks, everyone forgets about it, and no one gives a shit anymore, and they don't do anything.
Yeah.
But you know why? Because other than giving his family peace of mind, no one cares. It's exciting for a brief moment in time, but fleeting. How depressing.
Okay.
On that note,
I think we are done. I think we are finished up. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the new revamped format of the show. A little bit different, a little bit more exciting. Make sure that you listen to our next episode along with this one, since we released 2 today. And that is the Michigan Melonheads. We will see you on that episode.
Thanks for listening to the podcast. Don't forget to subscribe and rate us on Apple Podcast and follow us on Spotify. If you like listening to our podcast, please consider becoming a patron on Patreon.